is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of No Other Pod. I'm Jimmy, as always, with my good buddy Daniel Finger Guns Kooser.
Dude,
what's going on, my
you're
friend?
back. I'm back from bear country, bro.
I made it alive. I didn't get eaten.
Oh,
So if
so
you
crazy.
Follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you will see I did find some bears. So
He did. He made sure to keep that going.
Yeah. So the bears were found. I did not get eaten, but it was a good time.
Good deal, man. Good deal.
So.
Well, I would say you were missed, but you joined us last week anyhow from a remote location in a cabin in the woods. That's some Evil Dead shit right there, dude.
If I had a better setup, I would have done it like witness protection, where I just would have been like shadowed out and had a voice changer so you couldn't see where I was coming from.
Welcome to No Other Pod.
Exactly.
Now it's like a Saw movie.
Play a game. Yeah.
It's not good.
It was a less than stellar week from a soccer perspective for Sporting Kansas City. So
not great.
We'll talk about that. But how was your week? Holding it down in Topeka.
My week, man. It was wife was out of town, so it was she had a work trip
living it up
in California, and so it's just me and the dogs, man. And I got to tell you, these dogs lose their minds when she leaves.
Okay.
They become different. Splinter hunts just in the backyard for whatever. He won't listen to me. Bingo will just hide. And he'll just be in the corner of the room like he was just like hit or something. I'm like, what is happening? Yeah, what is going on? I'm a safe person. She came home. I was like, thank God you're here.
Is she the favorite?
I mean, it has to be. We have responsibilities, right? And the dogs are very much hers. The kitchen's very much mine.
Right.
Stuff like that. So,
well,
it was weird. It was weird.
If she's the one that gives them food, that probably is where it comes from. So.
Yeah, and Bingo's a very picky eater sometimes. You gotta pet him on the back 16 times before he even decides to eat. When I would leave, I had a rehearsal for this murder mystery I was in, and I would throw his food in his kennel, and I'm like, yeah, you'll either eat it or you'll just stare at it. I mean, who does that?
Die. Yeah,
eat or die. Make your choice.
Yeah, no, dogs are weird.
It's a weird time, man, but I survived, got through it.
Well, I'm glad you made it. That's good.
Yeah.
So, well, there's lots to talk about. I want to talk about both games, obviously, and some reaction by fans in person and online to a certain player that has been the subject of much discourse online and in person. We'll get to all that. But I do want to remind you, if you haven't left a 5-star rating or review yet on Apple Podcasts, please go ahead and do so. We appreciate it. And we believe, at least as of right now, there are still some spots available if any of you want to play in the Tacos and Bourbon Golf Tournament on July 29th at Sunflower Hills Golf Course in Bonner Springs, Kansas. There's going to be food. There's going to be drinks. Holiday Distillery and Mission Taco are sponsoring it. Prizes, giveaways, silent auction, a shot at for $1 million. So it's going to be a good time. So make sure you click on the link in the description if you have any questions or for more information. And if you have any sponsorship inquiries, contact Christian Gumminger. Got the name right, I believe.
There you go.
KCSNfoundation@gmail.com. So,
July 29th, huh?
Yes. I think I'm going to be there.
You're going to go?
I think so. I checked with Brittany. I was like, hey, I know we got some family in town. Do we have anything going on that day? And she was like, not that I'm aware of right now.
You want to just do this damn thing, bro? You want to get a doubles team going?
I have never played a round of golf.
Haven't you?
So no, I was thinking I'd be there to like help out with stuff and enjoy the libations, but we'll talk offline. We'll see.
That'd be wild.
I would be the worst.
It's one of the few Saturdays where I'm not going to Children's Mercy Park.
Yeah.
Those are very few. It's like, wow, I get to not do anything. So
between the current and Sporting, y'all are busy with soccer.
We make some trips, that's for sure.
It's a good time, but yeah, check it out if you haven't done so yet, and we'll figure it out. We'll see if we can do a little team, or I would just hold you back. I'll tell you that now.
I would probably not. I'm not interested in paying to lose because I'm not great. So
okay, well, we were pretty good at the Sporting KC mini golf tournament that we did.
Speak for yourself, bro. I got hosed the whole day.
Well, Marissa and I.
Do you remember that hole where you all got a hole in one, and
Yeah.
every time I hit it, it zooped right out of the hole?
It just came back.
Just fucking loop-de-looped, and I was like, I can't buy it. I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on.
But as a team, I think we did pretty well.
No, we did well as a team,
Yeah.
but can you imagine if I would have carried pulled my weight? We might have won that damn thing. We might have. Salty.
It's I shouldn't have brought it up. I'm sorry. I knew better.
It up, dude. It's so sensitive. I'm gonna just rip this tank.
Let's talk about this LA Galaxy game, because
it was a Galaxy game.
This was an interesting one. It was a midweek game, late kick Wednesday night, 9:30 Central. I was in Eastern time, so it didn't start until 10:30 my time, which kind of
Marissa was in Pacific time.
Was she really?
Yeah, that would have been. She was in Santa Barbara, like 2 hours away or so.
So she's like, "This is great." 7:30 kick. I'm having a drink by the beach,
dude. She was like just getting home from dinner and stuff, and I was like falling asleep.
I'm so tired. This was an interesting one because we had just dropped points against LAFC.
Yep.
And that was disappointing. And we had said on this podcast last week that we thought, even though usually you go on the road, you get a point, it's a success. We thought that we needed to go to LA, who is a pretty bad team right now, and don't have Chicharito because he had the ACL injury.
Right.
And we thought, got to get the full 3 points. And if you look
if you look at the lineups that were put out, Sporting Kansas City had the better lineup than the LA Galaxy. And I would argue wasn't even really that close. But yeah,
it's not always how it goes.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, dude, you want to know something?
What?
I'm sorry. I got to share right now. Okay. I get a notification on my phone that said my Xbox took a screenshot, and my wife down there playing a game. She don't know how to play. I think she took a screenshot accidentally.
Right. Okay. Well, important things.
Sorry. I was just like, what the fuck? What's going on with my Xbox right now?
Maybe she's playing FIFA. She's taking out her Sporting KC frustrations.
It's Harry Potter, bro. Harry Potter.
Well, priorities.
This was an important game midweek.
Yeah.
This felt I was excited. I was like, we're gonna bounce back, bro. We're gonna smush these guys. It's gonna be crazy.
It felt like a real opportunity for Sporting Kansas City to go on the road, course correct from a disappointing LAFC loss, and get some points. And it started out pretty well. I mean, it was Sporting Kansas City was largely on the front foot, and then Alan Pulido in the 12th minute finds the first goal for Sporting Kansas City, and it was a just absolutely gorgeous cross, just a little chip cross from Eric Tommy down the right side, perfectly over the Galaxy defenders' heads. Alan Pulido's right there, heads it with pace and power right past the goalkeeper. He gets a hand to it, but can't stop it. 1-0 in the 12th minute. I'm feeling great.
So good. So good, man. It was that just, I don't even know how that happens. It barely gets by, right? But it had enough to get by. Just I was impressed.
And Pulido shows his quality. He stays just onside. He holds up his lean just enough that he stays onside. The Galaxy defenders were begging for the offside call, but of course it wasn't coming. And then the header, it's perfectly done. Gets it on there, and you're feeling pretty good. Unfortunately, then just 12 minutes later, going in the 24th minute, LA Galaxy, they get a set piece, and Douglas Costa sends this ball in that feels like it was to the far post. I'm watching it. I feel like, okay, this ball should be pretty easily cleared. It wasn't like, it was a pretty high looping ball. It was placed well, but it wasn't anything that you don't really expect. And Caceres was there, and he gets a free header. There's a couple of players, Khiry and Jake Davis, who both, I don't know which of them was assigned to the back post. It might be Khiry. Neither of them went there. They left Caceres wide open.
I can tell you what whoever everyone says it is. Yes, is very upset with.
But he puts it down, and I know it was close range, but Kendall McIntosh has to do better there too. He was kind of too far over, and feels like that's a ball that Tim Melia saves.
I feel like there's a few balls that have happened lately that Tim Melia should save.
Yeah, that's a conversation that I'm happy to have, because nobody really knows exactly what's going on with Pulskamp right now. He's not injured.
SKC2, man, he just played for them the other night.
played for SKC too. The argument that you could make for putting McIntosh in there instead of John Pulskamp is, well, if Pulskamp is making too many errors and he's actively costing you points, okay, put McIntosh in there. I'm not seeing a discernible difference between Kendall McIntosh and Pulskamp. And in fact, I would say Pulskamp actually started the year. There were a couple of young player mistakes here and there, but he started the year so well that there were a lot of us, myself included, that thought, that thought when Tim Melia comes back, it might be Pulskamp's job to lose. And he seems to have gone missing in, the Canadian tundra somewhere. We just have no idea where he is.
Bro, he's on milk cartons. Like, we don't know why he's not in this. I don't know, like, what's it take for Peter to rotate, to put him back in there, give him a shot,
Right.
Do goalkeepers have runs of form like field players do?
I think so.
If that's the case, then what kind of form is Kendall in? We haven't had a shutout for a bit.
Right.
So when do you make that change and give Pulskamp another shot?
And the saves he's missing, I would say, like this one as an example that Kooser scored. I wouldn't say that's like an easy routine save, but I would say that's a save that if you want to be at minimum a playoff team, but if you want to actually make any sort of noise in the playoffs, you have to expect your keeper to do better with. Tim Melia probably gets to that one 8 out of 10 times, I would say. There's going to be a couple times he lets it by, but if Pulskamp is supposed to be the keeper of the future, wouldn't you rather have him in there and learn in game situations? Because I can't believe he's going to be doing worse than Kendall is right now.
I mean, we're not seeing training. We don't know what the deal is.
It's true.
Something happened, and how come no one's asked? Like, how come that question hasn't been asked in like pressers and stuff? Are we scared?
He doesn't really give. It's been asked in training before, and he doesn't. Okay. Peter doesn't really give, answers that offer much insight because he keeps that so close to the vet. Like, you ask him, and he's just like, they're both good goalkeepers. Kendall's just the one I'm deciding to go with right now. He doesn't really give much. I've heard through some channels that are not official that at least this, and this has been a few weeks since I've heard this, but like this started with, Peter maybe trying to motivate and light a fire under Pulskamp and be like, hey, if you want the job, take it. Like, if you want to be the number one, then like, let's prove that you're the number one. And apparently if that's the case, he hasn't felt like Pulskamp's done that yet. But I would also argue, again, I don't see training every day, but there's only so much you can show in training, right?
And you're right about his answers too, in press conferences and whatnot. He's no more helpful than the pool reporter asking the VAR referee questions.
Right. It is one of those things where I see, I'm in the press conferences, so I'm always curious to see how people react to some of the press conference questions. And I'll be the first to admit, like, this is not a full-time job for me. So I do feel like at least I specifically I wouldn't necessarily say tiptoe around Peter, but I pick and choose my spots when I ask questions because I don't have, a full-time job with The Athletic or the New York Times or whatever. If a PR department gets mad or whatnot, where they're going to be like, no, they're doing the job. Like, we're an independent podcast that ended up joining KCSN, and I feel like there would be support there, but I'm not going to go in and be like, Peter, you idiot, why are you doing that? And I feel like that's what fans sometimes want the reporters to do. Even after this most recent game, the loss to the Chicago Fire, I saw some people, and I shouldn't have gone on there, but on SKC Reddit, they're like, of course, the media doesn't ask him any real questions. And it gets to a point where you get the same answers over and over.
Yeah.
So we can only do so much. And I guess I would say there's a open house town hall forum with Jake Reed coming up. If y'all feel like,
when is that?
You're not, I want to say it's Thursday.
Oh, okay. Is it right? Pretty soon?
I think so.
Well, it's, our producer, Nick, just chimed in on the chat, said that, people are never happy with the media.
Right.
And that's true. But as media, you're always trying to find a different way to ask something because why? You're in the room. You hear how people ask and you know how annoying it is to ask the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sperry knows when he asked the same question that was answered literally 5 seconds before.
Right. You can only do so much. But I'm trying to find where the Jake Reed town hall thing was. I swear there was one coming up. Now I'm not finding it. Maybe I made it up. But they do those
Did
types
it
of
already
things.
happen?
And maybe it already happened last week and I missed it. But those are the opportunities for fans to go and ask questions if they're not happy with the questions that the media are asking. And you tend to see that those questions don't end up getting asked at those, because it is harder to do it, and you try to do it in a respectful way while still getting an answer. But it is what it is. So
I literally texted you Friday, June 16th about the town hall. So it might have been the following Thursday, which was
that would have been this past week.
Yeah,
and they don't stream it or publicize it or anything. But
the Cauldron wouldn't fucking say anything about it?
They tend not to. They tend to keep those things pretty close to the vest, pretty close to the chest, I should say, because that's sort of the deal with the club. It's like it can be an AMA, anything goes, but we're not going to air whatever grievances that are asked.
Okay, so you only really matter if you pay that supporters group fee, right? If you're only a part of that.
I mean, I would say it's not that much of a supporters group fee, but.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. But like, what about the other fans that are not a part of the Cauldron that still share the same frustrations?
Yeah.
What about that? Maybe they couldn't make it to the town hall
if they wanted to. Yeah, you did text me. I'm looking through trying to see, and I can't find where the date was.
No, I didn't tell you the date.
So it is what it is. We go into halftime with the Galaxy 1-1, not feeling great. So
no, it's not great.
Yeah, it's you think that you gave up a cheap goal and you're hoping for a better one in the second half. And so we'll talk about what happened again in the second half, and sort of a draw that kind of felt like a loss, but also kind of felt like a win. It was just confusing. But before we get to the second half, we're going to take a break real quick. So we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
Yay. Welcome back, everyone. Hey, question for you, buddy, real quick. Yes, what do you think about those Juneteenth jerseys that they're auctioning off? Have you seen those?
I saw them briefly.
Yeah.
I never go for any of the... Yeah, the artwork's great. I never go for any of the specialty jerseys. I don't go for any of the auction jerseys really either. But I know you got your Andreu Fontas jersey.
I got lucky with Fontas. I found out I wear the same size as him. I was like, cool, because I'd like to wear it. I'm not going to frame this thing, but it's cool because it's one of one. You know what I mean? No one will ever have that. With the special numbers. You can't get it customized like that. It's not like a Pride jersey where other people can get Pride numbers,
Right.
But this one's different. It's not game worn jerseys. They're auctioning off a single jersey signed by the entire team, one for every club.
Interesting.
And it's, some of them are up there at like $700, $900 right now.
Right.
It's a good chunk of change. Definitely, that'd be like a frameable for sure if you're going to pay that kind of money.
Oh yeah, that's a collector's item if you're doing that. So
yeah, I mean, it's art. You display it as art, and it looks as such. So yeah, I do like the game worn aspect of stuff though, like knowing that Fontas wore this jersey, and actually, I'm not even sure he played. Honestly, I don't know if he played.
Who knows? Yeah. But anywho, back to the Galaxy game.
Feel his Spanish power. So good.
1-1 at halftime. Okay, cheap goal. You're thinking, come back out. At this point, Johnny Russell hadn't played yet, so you still have some firepower on the bench. But it just sort of, Sporting KC just didn't feel like they were on the front foot really at all. And then there was a bad turnover down the right side between Jake Davis and Khiry Shelton. And then Judd from the LA Galaxy just kind of gets a free run past both central defenders. He kind of just runs right behind Andreu Fontas, speaking of. And Fontas gets caught sort of in no man's land, and Judd has a free header at the penalty spot, and suddenly it's 2-1 LA Galaxy in the 64th minute, and I really had no hope at this point.
Look, that man signed for Sporting KC too. Did you know that?
Oh, really? I didn't realize
Judd,
that.
before he was drafted to the Galaxy, he was signed for SKC2.
I forgot about that.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. He I mean, this was a pretty bad miscommunication between Davis and Shelton. But if you check out what Peter Vermees said after the game, he was like, the ball never should have really been played down that side. We didn't have numbers there. We had numbers on the left side. It should have been going up the left side, and one miscommunication, and then another bad defensive error, and then Kendall just can't quite get to the looping header that Judd sends over him, and it's 2-1 Galaxy, and it kind of didn't feel great from there. And
yeah. Can we do a quick side note on how do you say this guy's name? Ricky what?
Pooj.
Do we like him? I'm not thinking I'm a fan of Mr. Whiny Pants. The man seemed to be very distraught and enraged the entire game. I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
I mean, he's very good. He's their best player by far right now.
I just was not a fan. I was like, this guy's kind of a baby when things don't go his way. He was kind of being sassy.
He is, definitely.
Sassy. How'd you say it? Pooch. Sassy Pooch. All right.
Feels like you're not allowed to say that.
It doesn't feel right. I don't, whatever. If that's his name, you want to have a dirty name, bro.
This game almost ended in the 73rd minute. And it probably should have. Tyler Boyd made a gut-busting run for the Galaxy the length of the field and was fed a ball almost exactly at the penalty spot. Perfectly. McIntosh was off his line. Boyd puts it past him, and it bounces off the crossbar. It even bounced straight back into the box, and there was Ricky Pooj, your boy, was right there and couldn't quite gather it. That should have ended the game for the Galaxy.
That was the game. That was it, dude. That was 73rd minute.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's going in, and it hits that crossbar. Marissa and I were FaceTiming during this game, right? So it was like, but I was like a good 6 seconds ahead of her, and I was like, I can't not react to what's happening. So I do apologize. The only time she forced me to not react is Polito's penalty here at the end. She's like, please let me enjoy it in real time. And I was like, well, I'm 6 seconds ahead. So is mine the real time?
When I'm watching games, I've done that a couple times with family members or whatnot. I'll try to watch games over FaceTime or whatnot.
Yeah.
I try to pause it to sync up as close as I can with them because I can't not react.
Well, I mean, pausing, it was live, it was,
Can you pause it?
Can you pause live Apple TV?
Pretty sure you can pause and rewind and all that on MLS Season Pass.
I've never tried. I've never wanted to be behind,
Right. Well, that's the thing. Yeah. You need to tell her to catch up.
It doesn't work that way. I should have done that. Damn.
Yeah.
What a hack.
Just pause and count to 5 and then play again.
Yeah. Oh shit. Well, this will never happen again, probably. Right. So
no, but now you know. Funny. Maybe we did a PSA for people out there.
Yeah, no kidding. I didn't think about it because I've never needed to pause live TV. I go to bathroom at halftime,
Right. You're not usually pausing a soccer game because it's so, short halves. You can usually hold your pee for 45 minutes.
Yeah. I already put my phone on do not disturb because I don't want to get like tweets.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah. I put it on there before the game because Sporting will tweet, and I am subscribed to their tweets, and I don't want to see that something happens.
Yeah. And when they're at the game, it's about like a full minute before the broadcast. So
yeah,
it is rough.
Or if you text me, like you've done that before too, and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see it till I look at my watch.
Hasn't happened yet. Yeah. 81st minute, Sporting KC had an opportunity that they kind of blew themselves. I think it was Daniel Shallowy who was down the right side. He sends in it might have been Jake Davis. I don't remember. One of them who was going down the right side sends in a gorgeous cross to Johnny Russell. And Johnny Russell should have put this one away. If Johnny Russell is at all in form, he puts this one away. Instead, he puts it directly at the LA Galaxy goalkeeper, and it should have been tied right there.
That's the trade-off. They should have won the game hitting that crossbar.
Yep.
We should have tied the game there. Like, it's just that's how the sport works, and it's crazy.
That is how it goes. And then literally the 90th minute, Sporting KC earns a set piece. Johnny Russell sends the ball back. I believe it's Remy Voltaire who has the ball near the top of the box after it's bouncing around a little bit. He fires a shot on goal. Handball to the Galaxy. Pretty obvious. hand was pretty far away from the defender's body. And then Alan Pulido fires it past the keeper, ties the game in the 90th
Keeper got a
minute.
hand to it, didn't he?
He did. He touched it. Pulido's done this a couple times where the keeper gets a hand to it, but there's enough power that he can't quite stop it. So
that is frustrating for the keeper. Insanely frustrating, you know?
Yeah. It's
Dude, run some numbers for him. Someone should run some numbers. You're not going to do it right now. What is our record with Johnny Russell this season?
I'd have to look. That would have been
not good.
Something I could have done. He's not been great this year.
It's not good.
And part of it obviously has been health. But this is
he starts to come back and we start dropping points. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but hey,
I have seen more than one person say that right now they would rather see Marinos Giannis start on the right side and have Johnny Russell come off the bench.
Didn't help that he was with Cyprus doing his national team thing. But damn, if Giannis doesn't do some put some speed out there, that man is slick.
Well, and the problem, Russell had a pretty decent year, resurgence toward the end of last year when SKC kind of went on their run of form. He's getting a little older. He doesn't quite have the pace he did before. Defenders kind of know his tricks. His first couple years, it was splitting the defender as he drives to the box or driving to the end line, and he's just not quite able to do that. And I know he's been coming back from injuries and he's not his full self, but he hasn't been quite right. And this is the problem that the Sporting Kansas City team is in right now, is there's really no roster flexibility. And there are so many potential, I wouldn't say there's any major flaw in this team other than the back line. The center backs in particular have been wildly inconsistent. But the right side could be improved because Johnny Russell's not playing up to par. Marinos Giannis is more of a natural left winger. And then despite the terrible discourse around him, I don't think any of us think that Khiry Shelton is the permanent answer or the long-term answer or the go-to answer to start game in, game out or whatnot on the right wing. It'd be great to try to figure out, okay, where can we improve here? There's just no roster flexibility. So I don't think we can expect anything really major happening in this summer window coming up.
I agree, man. It sounds like we might not really have the space for that,
There's not even a roster spot open unless they officially put Courtney Ford on the season-ending injury list.
Yeah.
So
I need side note, by the way, because it's really driving me crazy. And I should have saved this for later, but it has to be said. You, my friend, have another referee doppelganger out there.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, it was the head ref for the NWS for the KC Current game this past weekend. I just started laughing. I was like, look at Jimmy out there reffing.
I'm out there doing my thing.
Yeah, I think it's Eric Tattersall. If you can find pictures of him, they don't really do well on Google Images, but
Eric Tattersall.
That's definitely not. You found him?
I'm trying to find it. I thought I did, but nope.
That's what I did. Eric Tattersall, and then click the NWSL thing, and it's they don't really take many pictures of the refs, right?
I found one, I think, and I can see it. He's a tall, lanky dude who he has a haircut that's not too dissimilar from mine. He's kind of got the reddish hair.
Yeah, he's no offense, he's sexy Jimmy.
He's not a bad looking dude. I was gonna say, I'll take this. I'll take it.
Look at sexy Jimmy getting his ref on.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Eric Tattersall.
Oh man,
but this game was frustrating. Peter Vermees said that the club played really poor against both LA teams, and getting 1 point across those two games was unacceptable. And I agree. So by all means, hey, let's bounce back at home on Saturday against a bad Chicago Fire team. Sounds easy, right? Well, that's what you're thinking you have to do. So then you go into the Fire game at home. You've played really well at home. No team has scored more goals since the beginning of May than Sporting Kansas City. This is your chance to bounce back. The LAFC game was frustrating. Redeem yourself now. Kai Kamara is coming back. Okay, we can deal with Kai Kamara. He's not.
I like watching Kai play. I always do. He's just fun, dude, and he manages to always be on the field. It's like, dude, you're getting up there in age. Why aren't you hurt? Why aren't you able to take a day off? He never does. He just jumps from team to team and keeps playing.
He's certainly been around the league. He's been it's like 8 or 9 different teams.
But he brings a positive vibe to those teams though. Like you watch him out there and he is fun to watch
on the field.
Yeah. And he gets in. Oh, you're talking
in the locker room. There are questions, but
sure, maybe that's why he's been on different teams. I mean, it's like someone's resume, and you're like, you're a job hopper, huh? What happened at all these jobs?
Right.
I feel you. Been there.
But yeah, so he was coming back, and Sporting KC had a pretty decent lineup out there, and you'd think that this would be the chance to bounce back, but didn't turn out that way. We all know that. So we're going to take one more break, and then we're going to break down what we think happened in the Chicago Fire game right after this.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.
Buddy,
we back.
I don't like this summer shit, man.
It's too hot for you?
It's just warm. It's warm.
Yeah.
I got my office upstairs. Our AC doesn't click on because downstairs feels nice.
That's a bummer.
AC clicks on at night to kind of cool down the house when you sleep,
Yeah.
But up here, it's like, no wonder. Marissa works from home, so no wonder she goes down to the living room halfway through the day.
Right. We have one of those Nest thermostats that the previous homeowners installed, and we just leave it on eco mode because we're too cheap to want to pay to actually cool down the house. So
I don't put it on eco mode, but what's that put it at? Like 80 degrees?
You can set it, but I think we have it at like 78 or something like that.
I do 78. Yeah.
Yeah. But when it's 97 degrees outside, it's still really hard to get the house down to 78 degrees.
Can be. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nick's got a problem. Nick's got a problem with our 78.
78. It's a lot higher than I would like it to be. Just
what do you put it on when you go to bed?
I don't know that we change it when we go to bed because again, we don't want to pay for it.
Oh, Jesus. 68, bro. 68 at night.
This is why I love winter because we keep it colder in the winter because we don't want to pay for it again. So we have it at like 68 during the winter. And I love it because I'm like, I just put on a little sweatshirt, got some sweatpants on, and it's wonderful. So
see, Nick must have a family member that works for Evergy or something because he has no problem. He has no problem running that shit,
shooting the money out at Evergy.
Dollar bills.
This Chicago Fire game, Alan Pulido, he's looking to keep his run of form going. He's scored like 4 goals in the last 3 games or 5 goals in the last 4 games or something. Like he's just like a madman out there scoring. Johnny Russell returns to the starting lineup.
So what you would think here, my first thought is, dude, Alan's pumped. Like he's on this little streak here. You think he doesn't want to continue this tonight?
Right.
Let's go. Oh, Johnny's in the starting lineup. Let's fucking go. Like, shit's exciting.
The midfield had Eric Tommy, Nemanja Radoja, and Remy Voltaire, or excuse me, I should say Radoja, as they were saying throughout the entire Galaxy game.
Where's the Galaxy get these announcers? Just off the street? Like, because these guys do zero prep. Hate to say it, we literally interviewed one of the guys on this show.
Yeah.
I wish it was after the fact and be like, what, you guys don't do research about people's names?
He was our first interview many years ago.
He was,
and
was our first one ever?
I think so, because we did it over like a Skype phone number that we set up.
Yeah.
His agent
reached out to us.
Yeah.
I was like, do you know who we are?
Yeah. There's some online chatter on the Apple broadcasters because you take local broadcasters away, they don't know the teams as well, they don't know storylines, they don't know the names, and that continued even through some of the other games that we saw over the weekend.
What do you do all week though? Don't they have time to prepare?
You should.
To go track down phonetic spelling,
you should.
However you pronounce things, maybe look at some stats. One of the guys on the broadcast, we're back in the LA game, by the way, he literally said, but when the ball hit the referee, he goes, "Oh, what do you call that?"
Yeah.
Well, you call it referee interference. I mean, what do you mean? What do you call it?
It's a drop ball. And they kick the ball back to the team who had it. So
is this your first soccer game, bro? Now, these people have thousands of followers on like Twitter and stuff. They're very well known in the SoCal region as far as like broadcasting like Clippers games and stuff. Like,
well, he's been the Galaxy broadcaster before. He knows soccer. I don't know if it was just a brain blip or what, but
I just kept thinking, like, man, you know how good we'd be at this job.
We were texting about this. We were like, they should let it. It would be so much fun to just have us do a broadcast and just mess around. It would be fun. Obviously, it's not happening, but
I mean, you know how they do the Nickelodeon broadcast for NFL games. We need a no other pod broadcast for these games.
Yeah.
What's stopping us from doing that, by the way? Like having a live YouTube show during a game. It's just you and me chatting it up.
I mean, it's a lot of content to go for 2 hours. Yeah, we can't, as Nick pointed out, we wouldn't be able to actually show the game. We couldn't
show the game, but it'd
yeah,
be a watch along, right?
It's a watch along. Yeah, that's what Kevin show does. And
yeah, but we'd be way funnier.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day. So
yeah, it'd be way less screaming. It'd be a good time.
There'd be less Argentina references.
100%. Less Argentine stuff. Absolutely.
This Chicago game, I'm looking at this lineup and I'm like, Sporting Kansas City is the better team here. On paper, Sporting Kansas City is the better team, and it's not close.
Which makes you think trap, 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 trap.
I don't know what's happened over the last 3 games really with Sporting Kansas City, but these were 3 games that you should have gotten at least a point, if not 3 points across all 3 games, and we come out of these 3 games with a single point. Yeah. All that progress we've made across May has basically been shot now. I mean, it's still
now 4 points below.
Right. It's not great.
You got shut out at home.
You get shut out at home. And it just was it was a boring game. Neither team
was.
It was not a good game to watch.
You know why? How many shots? You know, we took 1 shot inside the box and it was blocked by a defender. I believe it was from Remy Voltaire. Every other shot, just go watch the highlights, the 6-minute highlight package. We're firing stuff from outside the box. Boom, boom. Peter even said at the very end, he's like, we talk about all the time how stop taking those shots. You're going to make 1 out of 100.
Right.
That's great, but it's not sustainable. So stop.
Well, and this looked like the Sporting Kansas City team of March and April, not May. There were no runners into the box.
I don't know if we're good at all, dude. I think we maybe got lucky, had a little form, maybe caught some teams at some bad times. I don't know who we are right now.
It
was 3 games in 8 days.
True. Yes.
You got to say that.
But, you know, some of these games, I mean, 3 games in 8 days is all well and good, but I don't think that's an excuse based on just how poor Sporting Kansas City was playing, and some of these mistakes were just mental. And I know fatigue can lead to mental errors and such, but this is definitely the most confusing Sporting Kansas City team I've watched over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
It's not a case of they're just flat out not a talented team, because I think they are a talented team. A lot of people might disagree. I don't think it's a case of it's just, the coach is putting the wrong tactics out there. Yeah, sure, Peter can be a little rigid in what he does sometimes. I think he's a little more flexible than people give him credit for, but I don't think it's just as simple as fire Peter and suddenly this team has 15 more points than they do now. I don't think that's the answer either. I also don't think it's you'd never let Khiry see the field again and you're 15 points better than you are now. That's not the problem with this team either. There is something, and this is where it gets tough, that makes it seem like there's just an inability to gel in the way that it should with this team on a consistent basis. They did it for 10 games at the end of last year after Tommy and Agata came in. They did it for 6 or 7 games throughout May. And now they've sort of reverted back to the same bad habits, the long shots, the mental errors, the giving up silly giveaways and poor set pieces that they did to start the year. And I don't know how you fix it because there's no room on the roster.
No. I mean, everyone's doing this roster analysis and they're like, listen, the only way to even have a spot open is to add Courtney Ford to the season-ending injury list.
Right.
And it's like, I guess I assumed that happened or is going to happen anyways. But it's like, you're not bringing anybody in. No. You're not, unless you're doing some weird trade or something. But it's just, I think it's a done deal. You have to, play the hand you're dealt and hope for the best.
And even the goal that Chicago scored in this game, it was less than 2 minutes after halftime started. Again,
which is the worst. We get these early goals right after halftime. Do you know how frustrating that is for everyone involved?
Yep. It's really poor. There were a couple of mistakes here. Jake Davis does not close down on the Chicago Fire winger. He gives him way too much space to send in the cross. If that was Khiry Shelton, people would be calling him for him to be caught on the spot. I'm just going to say that right now.
Of course.
And then Fontas, I think, tries to like back heel flip it away, and all he does is just send it right to Herbers.
Just
right
tee him up.
Just basically set him up perfectly for essentially a penalty kick, who fires it on to the net. And that was that. Kendall can't get there.
It was kind of an accidental clearance by Fontas. I don't think he was quite ready to clear it. I think he just got a foot on it, but didn't get enough power behind it because he wasn't ready.
I thought that too, but there is one angle where it does kind of make it look like he intentionally stuck his foot out. I don't think he intended to flick it backwards. I think he probably thought, I don't want it to get to the far post and have somebody tap it in, because he definitely does stick his foot out. He probably was trying to clear it out more sideways, but he mishits it and it gets right to Herbers. And I would say also that, again, McIntosh probably needs to do a little bit better there. He doesn't center himself back in front of the net. He kind of stops partway through and just sits. And so when Herbers hits it right down the center of the goal, McIntosh isn't there to save it. Again, it's not an easy save. I'm not saying that's a save that every goalkeeper should make every single time.
Right.
But there is a trend here of McIntosh is not making the above average difficulty saves that good keepers do make at times. He makes the saves that he should make, and that's about it. And so he's not earning you points when Tim Melia, when he's in form, earns you points.
Yeah, I mean, McIntosh had one he gets some good looking saves sometimes, but it's just I don't know, man. It takes more than a goalkeeper to keep points off the board. It's all about the defense as well, and we know that's been shoddy at best and inconsistent. And Rocero's out, and then he's back, but Fontas is out, and the consistency's not there.
It's been a rotating door of people across the back line due to injuries, due to suspensions, due to center backs not being in form.
Castellanos comes in, has a hell of a game, probably game of his life.
Sure.
And then we can't keep it up.
Rosero has been inconsistent at best. There are times when he looks like potentially one of the best center backs in the league, and then there are times when he looks like he's just too unpredictable and sort of flippant with what he does on the field. And then Fontas has his moments, but then there are other moments like the one that we just mentioned, or he's just not athletic enough to keep up with some of the strikers that are coming into this league. The thing I do want to get your feedback on, because I was not at this game, I was still in Tennessee. Khiry Shelton came into the game, I think in the 83rd minute, I want to say.
Oh, I had no idea.
And I don't know how prevalent it was in the stadium, but on the broadcast, and this is what I want to get your thoughts on, because I don't know if mics were just near people or what, there were very noticeable and audible boos before Khiry Shelton even set foot onto the pitch.
Way more prevalent than normal. Normally there are a couple, and we're like, are you kidding me? There's people still booing. This was like times 5, maybe, even times 10. It was loud, and I was like, you've got to be shitting me.
This is, I put up a tweet about it, and then I told people, look, I'm not going to argue with you because y'all have already made up your mind.
You got some responses.
So there's some good and bad here, because I basically said I have an issue with booing Khiry before he even comes out on the field. You're booing a player being put in a difficult spot where he's playing out of position. People are so hyper-focused on every mistake he makes, unlike I've ever seen with a Sporting KC player. I had 33 responses to that tweet. That's a lot of responses to a single tweet that I send out. Now, what I will say, and this is what gives me a little bit of hope, because I think sometimes we get hyper-focused in on the online discourse. 141 people liked that tweet. And there were a number of retweets too. I still think the majority of the Sporting KC fan base, not the hyper online fans, but the majority of the fan base is not with booing your own player, even if there are valid criticisms to be had, which there are of Khiry and how he's played, or the positions Peter's put him in, or whatnot. There are criticisms that are appropriate and fair. Mike Kuhn, I thought, had a very good thread that I retweeted that basically broke it down in an appropriate way. But then, as I said, there are some people who it's gone from appropriate criticism, which does exist, to like a weird personal vendetta. And that's just where, like, if it's me, I think it's okay to criticize the performance of a player on the field in an appropriate way when they're making a mistake. But it makes us as fans, I think, look silly as a fan base to boo your own player before he even checks into a game, even for the last 7 minutes.
Hey, it's everyone on this team has made mistakes. And I don't, dude, is this a black and white thing? Because, I mean, we have subconscious biases in this world. We all got them.
Mm-hmm.
We all got them. And it's how you deal with them that makes it better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why isn't the young Jake Davis getting some flack? Because because he's a white kid, where you got to go hold the black adult to a different standard. I'll play the race card. I'll play it. This is a serious conversation.
I think there's a conversation to be had. I think there is nuance in this conversation because I think people do understandably give a little bit more leeway to the younger player. Jake Davis is much younger. He has a lot more to learn.
He's played more than Khiry has.
He is not making $600,000 a year, which is valid criticism. Khiry is not playing up to a near roster maximum salary spot, but that's not Kyrie's, dude. That's not Kyrie's fault. And that is some of the, to be fair, that is what some people say. Or hey, we're booing Peter, not Khiry.
I hope so.
But what I will say is, but you're only doing it when Khiry comes onto the field, and it has to impact the player. I would say. I think there are ways, if you want to voice your disagreement with Peter, there are ways to do it. I'm not going to tell people what they should or shouldn't do. I'm just saying I'm not a fan of booing your own player before he even comes onto the field, because someone asked me, well, what would you suggest we do then to get our point across? And I guess, and my question back is, all I'd say is, what are you ultimately trying to achieve here? What's your goal with the booing? Because if your goal is to let Peter know that you don't like it, he knows. He said as much after the LAFC game, the Austin game, when Khiry scored. He was like, this player's been getting a lot of criticism from a lot of places, so it was nice to see him. And he even said he hasn't been informed. It was nice to see him get one. Peter is well aware what y'all think of him and what y'all think of Khiry. So I don't know. We
are here to present possible options or reasons, right? I just want to say real quick, just to clarify, I don't think it's a race thing. I don't think it's a black versus white. Sure. That was me just saying, like, is it? Like, I'm just throwing out things. So before someone comes at me online right now and is like, you think it's all fucking race? It's not. I don't think that at all.
Drew Vanderplug, I think, was one who said on there, like, I think there is something to be said for, I don't think this is the intent with anybody, but there is a stereotypical trope with like questioning the care or effort from black players more than white players. Like, you hear about this with like, there's stereotypes with like NBA players all the time.
Sure.
The white NBA players tend to be described as, oh, they're the smart ones, the cerebral ones, the ones who can, just really good fundamentally. And then, the non-white players tend to be described more as like just really freaks of nature. And it's a little too easy to fall into those tropes. I agree with you. I don't think that's what the vast majority,
us back 100 years there.
I don't think that's what the vast majority of this fan base is doing. But that doesn't mean that it might not impact the player. So that's all I would just say is, if it's me,
100 years. Yeah,
right. I'm not booing my own player. I think there are ways to voice if you have valid criticism or complaints with the club, there are plenty of avenues to do that, whether it's,
town hall, baby,
ticket sales or town halls or whatnot. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of booing a player every time he steps foot onto the field, but that's just me. So
I'm not either, and it's not going to stop, because the moment you say something should stop, it's not going to stop. By the way, I did look, and I believe the town hall is actually this Thursday.
Is it? Okay, I thought so. I haven't seen anything about it, so go ask Jacob Reed your questions if you want to. I think there are valid questions to be asked of Jake Reed, and I hope people go do it.
It is, June 29th. There you go. Hey, this is a topical podcast, 6:30 to 8:30, town hall, Thursday, Children's Mercy Park.
Go ask Jake questions, by all means. I hope people do. There are some valid questions to be asked. This Saturday,
it's a season ticket holder thing too, right? So
I can't go, but
I can't either.
This Saturday they're back at home hosting Vancouver. Vancouver just beat LAFC 3-2 last week. This again becomes kind of a must-win game. You really don't have a choice if you want any hope of the playoffs.
It's just not. It's not looking fun right now. They got to bounce. They got to bounce back right now with force and show that they want to be in a position of success.
Yeah,
it's getting scary.
It is. It is. They have to do it. I would like to believe they could do it. I know they can do it. I would like to believe they will do it. I don't know if they will do it because I kind of have the feeling I did again in March and April, where it would be easy for me to say, yeah, I think this team will do it because everything in my head should say with the players that we have and playing at home against a team like Vancouver, who is not historically a great team, and we do pretty well against them. But nothing they've shown me on the field over the last 3 games indicates that that's what's going to happen. So I'm going into this game nervous. And my fear is if this spirals a couple more games, any goodwill that was built up in May will be gone. We'll be back to the Vermes out chance. There have already been rumors about Polito being sold. It sounds like those rumors out of Mexico have sort of been squashed, and now they're saying he's going to play out through the rest of his contract, at least with Kansas City, which is what Peter's been saying all along. But we're not far from the wheels falling off again, and they were just about falling off a month ago.
Yeah, crazy how just 1 week can do that to you.
Yeah, but could be worse, I guess. We could be Toronto, who just fired their coach.
Fired star coach Bob Bradley.
Bob Bradley. And Toronto has, I think, the highest salary, pre-Messi salary in the league.
Do you think he's like, but my kid plays here?
Well, he had plenty of other opportunities to coach his kid too. So
yeah.
They have the higher salary pre-Messi, but Messi, of course, is reported to make at least $50 to $60 million per year. So,
oh yes, MLS has that kind of money.
See where that's coming from.
Wonderful.
I don't know, man. I'm hopeful that they can turn it around against Vancouver, but we'll see. I just don't know.
I don't know either. I'm hopeful too, but like now you're getting Johnny Russell back in the fold of things, and I got to tell you, is Johnny a one-trick pony and everyone's reading him and they're just like, look, we know how to shut you down.
Tell them that after every goal they give up, every player on the team has to drink a hot shot.
Dude, what is people's problem with this hot shot nonsense?
I want to try one now.
It can't be bad.
Well,
the flavor is like spicy mango.
But the website says the whole point of it is it's so spicy that it overwhelms your senses, that whatever pain you were feeling before from the cramp, all of those basically thoughts get diverted to your mouth to try to get rid of the spice flavor you're feeling.
Okay. So anyone doing that has never done the Pocky one chip challenge.
Well, probably not. So
you want to do it with me?
I'm not going to say no, but I'm not going to commit to it right now.
We could do it on this podcast and videotape.
I'd rather do a hot shot on this podcast because there's a soccer tie-in.
But that's fine and dandy, but that's for cramps, bro. The one chip challenge.
Maybe I'm cramping right now. You don't know.
You should not be cramping right now. That's weird. You cramping. You're the guy who cramps in your sleep and you wake up. You need a banana real quick. I need a salt lick.
Yeah.
I just think that, dude, the one chip challenge is
I know.
There's no challenge,
haven't you? Or no?
You're gonna fail. It's not a challenge you succeed at. Right. It's absolutely terrible.
Well, maybe one day. So I'm saying I saw Tucker Franklin. He was talking about doing the hot shot, and I was like, I'm kind of interested too. So,
but as a person who works out and athletic and stuff, like you want to do it when you need it. Like they cost $4 a bottle, and they only sell them in a 6-pack or a 12-pack.
So let's split it. We'll go into it. We'll give Nick one. We'll give Tucker one. We'll give Jordan one. That's 3.
You want me to order 12? How am I getting it to you? I live in Topeka.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
All right.
We'll make Sperry do one with us.
Nick Springer. Wow, what a bad producer. He will not. He says I will not be doing one. What a poor producer.
Well, I think that's about all we have. Let's just hope that we can come back next week and have a victory pod because we've been missing it for the last couple of weeks, and I want to beat Vancouver.
I am feeling good about it, but I'll be out there and I'll be excited if our luck turns around.
We'll see. So
yeah.
Thank you all so much for listening. Make sure you check out that Tacos and Bourbon Golf Tournament if you haven't signed up already, in the link in the description. But yeah, leave us that 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts if you can. Shoot us an email, nootherpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at nootherpod, at Dan Kooser, at JCMac03. Check out KCSN Soccer on YouTube and check out that Kansas City Sports Network app. But until next time, he's Dan. I'm Jimmy. We'll catch y'all later. See ya.
It's just spicy fruit, y'all.